Ooh, it's a disembodied voiceover with a blurred background. So, our conversation about Ryan Divish's comments on the Marine Layer podcast extended about 10-ish more minutes than what we showed in the actual podcast. I wanted to cut it and put it as its own video just as like a didn't want to like be overbearing with the podcast. So, this is that. Thanks for watching. I have a question relating back to the pitching side of things. Say they
Mhm.
do trade a Gilbert, a Castillo, even a Kirby, right? You're probably going to get the best return for what the Mariners want from one of those three guys, given the money that would come off of like the books. Kirby's going to probably get like 5 or 6 maybe. So it's not much, but it's something. You're not going to trade Miller or Wu because like they're more cost controlled. Would you rather them spend money on a free agent pitcher in the offseason to replace and become their number 5 or however it fits that like fills out, or use that money elsewhere and roll with like Emerson Hancock, Logan Evans, or Brandon Garcia going into 2025 as like your number 5?
I just don't know who on the free agent market you're gonna use that money on. You know what I
Jack
mean? Like,
Flaherty.
well, I'm talking about on the offensive side of things.
Oh, I
Like,
see what you're
like
saying.
yeah. So like on the offensive side of things, I'm looking through it right now. Like, are you gonna try to bring Teoscar back? He's not gonna come back.
Sure.
Like Cody Bellinger, if he decides to opt out. Um, Jesse Winker. Like Jock Peterson has a $14 million mutual option
Mm,
that I don't know if that's going to get picked up. Maybe you decide to go spend that on him. Like
okay.
I don't know. Matt Chapman, if he decides to opt out, like the guys that are available, the Mariners go out there and spend this metaphorical money on that is being said that they will trade these guys off for. They just don't exist on the free agent market this offseason. The corpse of Paul Goldschmidt, like Christian Walker, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Walker's
It's
not a
just
bad shout.
like I don't even think you need to get like lower payroll to sign Christian Walker. I don't think he's going to be that expensive.
Okay.
He's going to make a decent chunk of change, but you could probably get Christian Walker by just declining Polo's option, and boom, you have Christian Walker. Also, they're not going to come here, so who cares? Like, why are we talking about? Oh, we need to allocate this money to bats. The bats aren't going to come here in terms. So the money that you save from trading off Luis Castillo and Randy Rosarena, you have to spend on pitching because you're not going to get it back. You're not gonna be able to entice a hitter to come here in the offseason. You're just not a good one anyway. Like, so you have to use that money back on pitching. What's the point of trading away, you know, Logan Gilbert and then going out and signing Jack Flaherty? What's the point?
Well, you
Like,
got
they're
bats
probably good,
back in for Logan Gilbert.
but like, did we? Like, who feasibly is going to be willing to pay the cost that it's going to take to get Logan Gilbert? Like, again, when I talk about, I always use the Orioles as an example because
Sure.
they was stacked.
I think that makes
You
sense.
have you have to start that package with Jordan Westburg.
All right.
Start.
And maybe like try and entice like Heston Kierstad as well.
And I still need more than that.
Yeah, I think that's like those two guys would be like the headliners, and you fill it out after that.
Yeah, but then the Orioles say no.
You think so?
Why would they ever give that up when they could just go out and re-sign Corbin Burns?
It's true. With also new ownership for them, maybe they're more
Right.
willing to spend money in free agency. The like overarching issue. We have no issue with like Divish's like perspective and his
Right.
opinion and like people saying like, oh, we should trade these guys. The fact that we have to talk about trading generational pitching to supplement the opposite end offense in terms of generational, like they're completely opposite sides of the spectrum. Is like one's really good, one is the worst. The fact that we have to talk about offsetting how bad the offense is by trading from that great pitching because the ownership won't spend enough money is just downright disrespectful. It's a slap to the face every single time we have to have this conversation. I don't like having these conversations. Like you're talking about, like, let's save it for the offseason. I'd rather not have them ever. But it's unfortunately just like what we have to do because we know how this, unfortunately, how this franchise is ran. And that's like until ownership changes, until sell the team happens, it's probably going to stay that way. Unless for whatever reason, John Stanton has a change of heart. Someone uses the spell card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Change of heart, switches him to the other side. Like, whatever. However it's going to work. Like, it's never going to, it's just not going to change. And like, we wish it would. We wish we wouldn't have to sit here and like theorize about what Logan Gilbert could get you in return packages, but it's what we have to do.
Right. The way I look at it. So let's say both these guys get traded, right? And Randy and in Logan, just because those are the names that have been mentioned.
Sure.
Both guys get traded. Your outfield is probably Julio, Rayleigh, and Robles next year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost willing to, I don't want to say willing to bet, willing to guarantee that Robles takes a step back.
Yeah, he won't be as good as he has been. Yeah.
No shot.
I don't think that's like an unrealistic point of view either. Like to think that he will continue how well he's done, he hasn't done that ever in his career. If he somehow does, he maintains, phenomenal. But going into next season expecting him to be the player he has been for 2.5 months or 2 months, whatever, it's a little unrealistic. And I don't like disagree with that. Behind him is like, if you still have Mitch Haniger, who will he be any better next year? He probably is worse with his age. Will Dom Canzone figure it out? Like, you're trying to like fit pieces together of a puzzle that is like you're like trying to fill out a puzzle upside down. It feels like they're trying to put it all together and it's just like not happening because you're getting rid of the guys that can make positive impact for you. You're getting rid of your corner pieces of the puzzle. Guys that start it all.
And I think that, again, Jordan Westburg, this is just the guy that I think I've heard the most talked about. He's hitting 269, 317, 497. He's 25 years old. He has 18 homers with a 132 OPS plus at second base, and he can play third. That's great. That's a great addition to your lineup. You know who else is doing that right now? His name is Jorge Polanco. In fact, Polanco's been arguably better since the All-Star break.
I'm going to interject here just to give Colton some context. He doesn't really have the ability to in the podcast setting when we were having this conversation very organically. He doesn't have data to really back up this claim. And he probably didn't realize that Westburg has been injured since the end of July. He's only played in 12 games in the second half. So like, Polanco's technically been better. So if we compare, say, Westburg's first half to Polanco's second half, I think that's where the conversation can be had. And it's whether or not you get that version of Polanco for an entire year, right? So Polanco's second half, we all know he's been on a heater. He is hitting 252, 338 with a 504 slugging with an 842 OPS in 33 games, which he's taken 119 at-bats. Counting stats aren't going to favor Polanco here, but he's hit 8 home runs and driven in 19 RBI, right? Jordan Westburg, in about triple the games and triple the at-bats, 89 games and 343 at-bats, respectively, has 15 home runs and 50 RBI, so counting stats, His slash line is 271, 318 with a 496 slugging and an 814 OPS. So yes, Polanco does have a higher slug and a higher OPS in a smaller sample size. I think that's mainly the direction Colton was taking that. I just wanted to give some context before he got flamed for saying that. The issue is just the All-Star break. If you look at it, right, spanning the whole season, that's where like the conversation happens. Like if you're going to get a healthy Polanco the entire year who's aging versus like you're getting Westburg who likely will be reaching his prime in a year's and a half time, who will be cheaper, who you'll have for a lot longer because he's young. You'll have him like, it's just club control. Like I understand like the differences between the two. It's just like,
but do I want the guy who's proven he can hit over a 10-year career? Or do I want the guy who's proven he can hit for 1 year? By trading Logan Gilbert, it has to be a slam dunk.
Sure.
I'm not saying that Polanco's ain't gonna be better than Westburg. He's not.
You're saying like for 2025, like right, you get to keep Gilbert. It's like you keep Gilbert, you go with Polanco. You lose Gilbert, you go with Westburg. You're picking keep Gilbert, go with Polanco. Is like your argument. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Westburg is better than Polanco in 2025, but no. Like if it means you get to keep Logan Gilbert, that additional value essentially is like how you're attributing it. I get where you're going. Sorry, I was like, what do you like? There's no way you're trying to tell me that Polanco's gonna be better than Westburg in 2025, but
we have to account for the T-Mobile effect on Jordan Westburg. So his average is gonna drop by 40 points. He's gonna hit 10 less home runs. But I don't understand. The only reason there's one singular reason why we're having this conversation. And that is because ownership is cheap. There's no other reason to ever have this conversation because a real baseball team with real ownership uses the baseball prospects that they have and goes out and gets the bats they need. They use the guys in single and double A to go get the bats they need and say, oh, we're still $100 million below luxury tax. We're good. But no, the Mariners ownership They don't run this like a real baseball team. They run it like a business where they can run the highest profit margins. And because of that, we have to have this stupid conversation where the Mariners 7-8 years ago had a higher payroll than they have right now. That's not how money is supposed to work.
Inflation.
Have you guys not heard of inflation? Like the Mariners should every single year run a payroll of 175 to 200 million dollars every single year. They do well enough in terms of attendance. They do well enough in terms of just media share and whatnot. Even if Root Sports is dying, Root Sports will be dead next year. Root Sports won't exist next year. I'm almost willing to bet that when we're here next year at this time, we're talking about the Mariners on Disney Plus or something. I don't know.
Damn.
But that'd be sick. But I think that by using that argument, you're just barking up a tree. You're talking to a brick wall because it's not going to change. So we're forced to have these conversations. And frankly, it's stupid. It's just stupid that we have to have these conversations. But that's where we are, Joe, talking about this team trading away the best pitcher they've had since Felix Hernandez.
Damn. Mic drop.
Anyway, we got a series coming up, Joe, against the Los Angeles Angels at Disneyland. I yapped a lot in that last
Speaking
segment.
of Disney Plus, you can see that's us leading into the actual podcast. Again, appreciate you guys watching this little extended bit. Let us know what you think. Obviously, we are pretty much staunchly on the side of, yep, ownership sucks. And until that changes, we don't really know how to kind of take steps forward as a franchise. But again, thank you for watching and go Mariners.